because if I'm in my line of work, if I was faced with a problem, I basically I go to debug it. I think of all the possibilities and I cross them off one by one off the list until I find out what the problem is. Like I prioritise what I think it might be, and I go through them that way with all my theories. But so I couldn't understand why these top doctors couldn't get to the bottom of this. So we decided that I would go up and to the hospital and stay there for the night and let my wife come home to the other 2 children and spend a bit of time with them. But in the meantime, I scheduled a meeting with the top doctor up there in Temple Street, and I demanded to see him. And I told, when I was arranging the meeting with the midwife, or not the midwife, but the head nurse on the ward, I told her I'm not going to be one bit pleasant about it. I want to get a lot of stuff off my chest. I'm very frustrated and annoyed and upset over the whole thing. So I stayed there that night, and the following morning, the top doctor up there, came up to me and invited me into a room where we had a meeting. And now there was the head nurse was there as well, and there was a security guard. There was a security guard there as well. I don't know why, but I just explained to the doctor, listen, I'm very upset about the lack of progress on the coming up with a diagnosis for Amy as to what's going on. So I demanded to have an MRI, which hadn't been done at that point, and a CAT scan. I would have had done CAT scans, but an MRI is a more detailed version of that, I think, or maybe it's vice versa. And I was just in tears, just venting my anger and getting stuff off my chest and asking to get stuff done and take the finger up, basically. And they scheduled an MRI, and lo and behold, the shunt was blocked again. After all that time, I was so mad. It was unbelievable. But at least we got to the bottom of it, and we knew what was wrong. So they decided to take a different approach this time. They put a new type of valve in Amy's head, a new type of shunt. It was a variable shunt where they could adjust the sensitivity of the valve to the right setting for Amy. And after the revision, a week later she got home, and to this day we haven't had an issue with her shunt at all. So it seems to be working absolutely fine. So fingers crossed that everything will remain that way, But so ever since, between then and now, Amy has now got her wheelchair, and she's in a training wheelchair at the moment. She is paralysed. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier, from the waist down, so she'll never walk, and there's no hope of her ever walking. So she's in a wheelchair. She's in a training wheelchair at the moment. Over here, the government provides the wheelchair. In our case, it's a second-hand one. It's a little small one, and it's blue. It quite annoys me that they can't get a pink one for a girl that's brand new, that has all the frills and this fancy design and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, the crowd that we're dealing with just seem to be only working towards their budgets, and they've only certain a limited amount of money, and it's very, very frustrating having to deal with all that bureaucracy and all. Whereas I'd rather just go down and try and get some money together and buy a proper wheelchair that we'd like. But before Christmas now in 2012, Amy's allegedly going to be getting a new wheelchair, but we won't hold our breath. We'll see what happens, and if it hasn't arrived by then, I'm going to be venting my anger again, which won't be very nice. But the wheelchair she has, she's within a week, she was fully accustomed to it. She was flying around the house. She speeding around the place. She turned on a tuppence, as they'd say over here. It's great to see her having the mobility and being able to go around, and obviously she can't go down steep inclines or up steep inclines, but on flat surfaces she's fine. She flies around the place. It's absolutely great to see her having a bit of mobility and all that, with the wheelchair we had to modify our house, and we had a bit of money saved up, a bit of savings, and we decided we couldn't get any grants due to our circumstances, money off the government to help us modify our home, so we had to do it out of our own pocket. But the first order of business was to pour concrete ramps around the outside of our house and the grounds to make it all level and make sure that Amy could get around the outside as well. And the day that we were pouring the concrete lorry was outside of our house. My wife's brothers were all after preparing the land and all that kind of stuff, and the lorry was literally about to pour, and we had the front door open, and Amy went out over the edge on her wheelchair, and she fell straight on her face and grazed her nose off the ground. Absolutely horrendous feeling. Screams and the blood and the tears, and Oh, it was gut wrenching. You know what I mean? My wife just literally turned her back on her for a split second, and she was gone over. It makes me sick even thinking about it now. You know. But we rushed her straight into the doctor, and the doctor just basically said it's okay. It's only a little graze. It'll heal up naturally, and there's no stitches or anything like that required. But we got some fright, I tell you. But we used to have very severe steps outside of our house, and in preparation for the concrete, we had poured some filler stone on top of that, just to give it a flatter surface or whatever. And I think that probably saved her from breaking her neck or having a worse fall, because they had kind of like a spongy effect or something. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just so thankful that was there, you know. But it was absolutely gut wrenching. Let me see, what can I do? What can we talk about next? Yeah, I'd like to talk about the public reaction and the public reception to Amy. When we're out and about, I find that it's to be expected. Like young children, and they all stop and stare, and they just turn their neck and they rub their neck as you go by. You know, they just stare with their mouth open. It's to be expected. They don't know any different. Like, you know, you have to deal with it. You can't get onto them or anything. You know what I mean? But adults just treat her with complete pity, and you know, like it's a very heart-wrenching thing to see a young child so small and delicate in a wheelchair, you know, and trying to do the best. You know, I just feel teary about it now, even, like, you know, thinking about it. But yeah, she gets around. Like, we bring her to Kids Zone and Play Zone and these places with her other sisters, and she can't obviously climb on the big climbing frames and all that kind of stuff, but we bring her on and play in the ball pit and all these little stuff. We do as much as we can with her, you know. But yeah, it's very tough not being able to play with her sisters exactly as she'd like to, but we involve her as much as possible. Like, we sit her down on the ground and play with her toys or building blocks, or she colours in and, you know, plays with dolls and tea parties and all the usual stuff the girls do, apart from riding bikes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like today, like I see her speech is improving daily. She was slow, just the fact that she was in hospital for so long, and it's related to her condition as well. Like, she's not completely developed upstairs yet, like, you know what I mean. She will eventually, like, but she's slower than other children her age to pick up on things. But she is on a daily basis learning more and more things, like learning new words and all that kind of stuff. And the hospital visits are becoming less and less frequent, you know. So that's a positive. Like, I'm fully convinced that, like, what she lacks down below with the mobility, she's going to make up for upstairs with her brain, like, you know. So I'm fully convinced that as long as everything is up there is okay, that she'll be absolutely fine, you know. And we'll deal with the mobility issues. We'll have to get more modifications done in the house. We'll have to get a new specialist car, like, you know, with a lift and all of that kind of stuff. We live right next door to the school where her other two sisters will eventually be going, and we'll have to do a fundraiser to raise money to get that made wheelchair accessible, with toilets and all that kind of stuff, and ramps and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, one of the things over here in Ireland, the government has cut down on special needs assistants, which are assistants in classrooms that help children with special needs, help them go to the toilet, help them unpack their bag or whatever it may be. But hopefully by the time Amy's going to school, they'll be back in place. But if not, we're going to make an effort we're going to have to talk to the principal and the board of management in the school, that myself and my wife will walk across the field basically over to the school and go in on a regular basis and bring Amy to the toilet, because she has to be catheterised, which is, she can't go to the toilet of her own free will. She has to be drained with a catheter, it's called. It's not a very nice thing to do, but it has to be done, unfortunately, you know, to keep her kidneys in order. But yeah, that's it. She's not going to be able to partake in sport as much as other children would, but hopefully there'll be some sort of sports that she might be able to play that are non-contact and don't require a lot of physical activity. But yeah, I want to get her involved in music as much as possible, because it's something that she does need a lot of mobility for, and art and all that. I'd love her to follow my footsteps into computers, but we'll see how it goes, you know. Just to summarise, and I could go on and on about the whole thing, to summarise the whole thing for parents that are looking at this, just never ever contemplate abortion or termination of the pregnancy. It's an absolute no. As you can see from the photos, like Amy looks looks perfectly normal, you know, apart from having a wheelchair. That's join the Spina Bifida Association. We're members of the Spina Bifida Association in Ireland, and the help and support that we get from those is unbelievable. Like meeting other parents with children that have Spina Bifida and hearing about their stories and problems that they've encountered that we can watch out for, and helping each other out and all that kind of stuff, and going to events that give the children a day out and all. It's a great thing to do, to have the extra level of support from those guys. And yeah, the most important thing for as a father, and that I can give advice to other fathers and mothers, is that if you have other children, make sure that you never neglect the other two children. Give as much attention and love to the other children as you do to your special child, because you will be more inclined to want to give extra love and attention to your child with Spina Bifida, but make sure that you don't neglect the other two. Give them as much attention as possible. And that's what I'd like to say on the whole issue. Sorry I've rambled on quite a long time on this. It's probably going to be in 2 parts, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to join in on the discussion, please leave your comments below. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again. Bye bye.